Hello, this is just a quick follow-up video to my previous video on working directories. I just wanted to quickly cover a little bit more of a bit more advanced way of setting file paths, setting working directories using file paths, and that is making the most out of the object-oriented programming language that is R. So what we did before was to have here set working directory and have the file path inside that as an argument. But what we could do is you can actually put that file path as an object. So this is now a character string object that I call path, and it contains this file path. And then we can then set working directory. Then the working directory that we got is this working directory. So that's then this is what R is really good at. The strength of R is to use the object, so you can just like set the path as an object. Let's get back into the home directory. And then the benefits of using this is then that you can actually start manipulating different file paths in different ways. So let's say that we want to call the OneDrive location as an object, a separate object, the research folder as a different object, and the R tutorial folder as another separate object. So these are directory, subdirectory, sub-subdirectory, so I just call them dir, sdir, ssdir. And then we can create a path using this paste function, for instance, and then we can then separate it by this forward stroke. So then the path then is exactly the same as before, just that okay, actually, so we should also then this should actually have been, let's say, tilde, so that we know that this is the home directory. And then if we set that, then that path object has the home directory, OneDrive, etc., etc. And then we can then set this file path, and that's moved it to this, change the working directory to this location. And a benefit of, or a very strength of using this approach is you can then combine different working directories and create new subdirectories and then add to this path using this paste function. So let's say that within this R tutorial folder, you wanted to make another directory, and you call this, let's say, outputs. And then if you paste, oops, I can't spell, paste this to the path, and then sssdif, separate it with a forward stroke, and let's call this path 2. Now path 2 is basically the same thing, but it has an outputs folder. And let's say that we can have it conditional. If this directory exists, does it exist? So does this directory exist? False. So if it doesn't exist, then let's create said directory. So now if we go to our tutorial, oops, it didn't create it. Oh, so that's because if it's not, so if it exists, if it doesn't exist, that's created. So then it should have created it. So then it creates it. So it created a folder called outputs, and then let's say we set working directory to this second path. So we should be in here. Let's say we're going to write out, use this. Let's write it out here. So now we've written out this outputs folder, and we can maybe, let's say we can keep the input data and the output data separately. So this is a pretty useful way to do it. So instead of going back out of R and creating a folder, you can actually then create a folder from within R, for instance. And this is really useful. So let's say you want to move out to another folder. So let's say you create a folder for plotting. Let's say you wanted to make a folder for your plots, or maybe you want to make a folder for all your stats. And then so if you create different directories and then paste them into this constructor, then you can freely combine all these and make new folders and write it out to different places, read it in from multiple locations, but within the same, kind of sharing a whole load of hierarchy. then that's a quick way to do it. So that's just a quick video to demonstrate this kind of approach. Sorry for the rambling because I don't really have a lot of time and I just haven't really prepared very well.